He's an introvert, interviewing strangers from the internet, knocking down the walls of his comfort zone, one conversation at a time. This is the Gary Cantrell Podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I cannot tell you how much I truly appreciate this. Welcome back. Thank you so much for listening. This week on the podcast, I'm talking to Heather. She has lost an incredible amount of weight. She has a story. I've been following her now for probably about 3 years almost. And I cannot wait to talk to her, to hear about her story more in depth here on the podcast. And I cannot wait for you guys to hear it as well. But before we do that, let me tell you all about my Patreon podcast producers, Daryl at Your Level Fitness, Kaitlyn at Kaitlyn Elise, that is 3 Y's in her name, Vanessa at Vanessa Ray's Journey, and Amanda at Mutts_and_Miles. Patreon.com/Gary Cantrell. That is the best way to support this show. You're going to get this weekly show early every single week, 5 days early. So if you're listening today on a Wednesday, which is the day most of you guys download the show, on Friday, if you sign up on Friday, you would have a brand new episode waiting for you, your own personal RSS feed that you can attach to any podcast app of your choosing. I like to use Downcast. I think it's the best podcast app around. You get the podcast 5 days early. All these commercials that you hear, you don't hear any of that there. It's all commercial free. We just get right to it. A higher quality MP3. Need I say anymore? It's a great deal. And look, I get it. Times can be tough. Money can be tight. Let me tell you about a way to support this show that costs you absolutely nothing. And that's leaving a review. More than 70% of you listen to me on an Apple device. All right? Team iPhone, rise up. I see you. I'm Team iPhone. I love the iPhone. But with that device, you hold a lot of power. If you go into the Apple Podcast app on your phone or even on your iPad, type in the Gary Cantrell Podcast and leave a 5-star review. Only if you truly get value from the show. Leave a sentence or two. What does the show mean to you? What has the show done for you? These are some of the things that you can write, but leave a meaningful, thoughtful review. And I know this might sound silly. Oh, Gary's just asking for reviews. Well, let me tell you about something here. Apple, they look at these reviews like they are everything. They treat them like they are the gold freaking standard. It's easy. Any celebrity can start a podcast tomorrow and get 50,000 listeners overnight. Me, I got to work. I got to scratch. I got to claw for every listener that I get. I don't have it like that. And Apple just so happens to have this little algorithm that puts a lot of stock in reviews. I'm hoping to get to over 100 reviews by the end of 2020. It's a small goal. I think we can do it. So by leaving a very quick review, 5 stars, a sentence or two about what this show does for you, will take this show to greater heights. So if you can do that for me, if you can take 90 seconds out of your day to leave a review about this podcast, I would be forever in debt. Please and thank you. All right, let's get Heather on the line here. I'm really excited to talk to her. Hello.
How are you?
I am doing awesome. How are you?
Good. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, perfect.
And
Let me just put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Oh, no worries.
Since I had no idea how to do that.
No, it's all good. I mean, they don't exactly put it out there.
Yeah, I had no idea. I just figured, I don't know what the night thing was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I feel like it should be, it's just like a little moon and you're just like, well, okay, well.
Yeah, because I was literally looking for Do Not Disturb and I didn't see it. So I was like, all right.
Yeah, they bury it a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm recording, by the way. This is how I like to just capture every moment because I'm very much an introverted type person. And so one of the ways to get out of my comfort zone is to call strangers from the internet. And so I just hit record and this is literally you're on the podcast. That's how it works.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Cause I'm a little nervous too. So I was like, all right, I'm not sure exactly,
The best part about this, Heather, is that by the time the hour's over, it'll be so comfortable. That's the crazy thing to me. Like every time I do this, I'm always constantly surprised because you always get the nerves. I always have the nerves every time I call somebody, and I don't care. Like we've been talking on Instagram for a little while. Like I looked back and we go back to like 2018. So
Yeah.
it's not like we just met yesterday, but talking on the phone is like a completely different thing.
Oh yeah, totally. It's totally different when you actually like see and talk to people like in the flesh.
Oh,
or over the phone.
that's a whole other thing. That's like a whole other animal. We had this meetup, this Instagram meetup last year in Cincinnati, and a bunch of people came out and hung out, and it was super cool, but it was also like for an introverted guy like me, it was super like weird as well. But I mean, I had a blast once I got comfortable with it.
Oh, I totally understand. That's like I don't know if you know the New York City weight loss meetup. They usually do that. Monica and Donna put it together every year in New York. And I remember the first time I went, it was like nerve wracking. And you know how the community is. Sometimes it's like, you don't know who you're going to vibe with or
Sure.
who you're not going to vibe with. So those things, I always get nervous because I'm very shy and awkward. As much as it doesn't look like it, I am. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is kind of like weird, like when we're these kind of people, but we're also on Instagram, like sharing our stories, which is kind of like, it's like, okay, like we are shy people, but at the same time, we're completely comfortable with posting very like our intimate thoughts, like where our mindset is at as we're going through this process, and sharing photos that, to the average person may not be like, quote unquote flattering, but this is the people that we were, this is the people who we are. And it's very interesting to me.
Yeah, it's like the reality of it. And it's like, I don't really sugarcoat anything. Like I put everything out there because it is what it is.
Oh yeah. 100%. I did look back, before I say it though, do you remember around the time you first posted? Cause this is one thing I'm doing now on the podcast. Like,
okay. So it's funny you say that. I did not create this Instagram until it was 2017 and it was November. And I remember that because I had a hairdressing account.
Right.
And I had bariatric surgery. It was January 2017.
Yep.
I didn't start this account until 6 months after my initial surgery because I didn't think anyone would be interested in my journey or my story. I was just posting things randomly on my hair page with like losing weight because I was getting excited. Like,
yeah,
I didn't, it was just exciting losing weight and just transforming. And it wasn't until after it was my first trip to Salem, my second time actually, after Salem. And I was just seeing pictures from like the year before where I barely was able to walk and barely be able to breathe, let alone like doing all those steps. Because Salem, there's a lot of walking when you go to Salem. And
right.
Even we hit Boston for a little bit. And I just remember not being able to enjoy it. And then when I went that October, I was like, wow, I can actually walk. I can actually do these things. And I got really excited. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a different account because I wanted to separate like my hair page from that because I just felt like it was time to do that maybe. And I wasn't sure where I was going to go with it because honestly, I didn't even put a weight loss to my name. I just put Autumn X Noir because I didn't want to be labeled like that for me because I feel like I don't know if people could take anything away from me. It's not just about weight loss. It's just about life in general and what I'm doing with anything.
Yes.
Whether it be like getting excited over glitter or creating something or I don't know. I just felt like I just didn't want to put that to like my name. I don't know.
No, I appreciate that because I mean I'm kind of one of these people. I mean, like I always say, like, do whatever you want. It's your page, obviously, but I definitely advocate for, sharing more than just the weight loss because I feel like a lot of these accounts, like it's all weight loss stuff, and I get it. You're trying to share your journey, and that's a purpose. And maybe you feel like people are going to run away and unfollow, and the hell with if that's what they're going to do, let them do it. But I really love to see like people just kind of like doing their thing, weight loss, but also who that person is. And I think like when I scroll through your profile, I think I get a vibe of who you are based on your profile, not just here's what I'm eating, here's the workout I just did, here's the transformation. Like there's more to it.
Yeah. That's why I was just like, because it's funny because I felt like, I don't know, I just kind of put everything out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just didn't want to be just this is what you're only about, a girl that just lost weight. I just felt like maybe, I don't know, I just didn't want to be labeled like that.
Did you ever imagine, though, that it would reach kind of the heights it has? I mean, because you've got a very substantial following, and kind of when you put it out there, you're like, okay, I don't know who's going to see this. Did you imagine one day that, 45,000 people are going to potentially come across your page?
No, I really didn't. And it's funny because I don't know when exactly. I had a couple people like, I could honestly say this. I'm not one of those people. I've never been like, oh, thank you, 1,000 followers.
Yeah, I hate that.
Like, I don't do that because I feel like I don't know, that's just not me. That's not what I'm about. I'm not about getting like followers like that. It's just,
right.
You want to know my story or follow my journey, then you're going to do it. I don't feel like I need to put on blast. And someone was like, oh, it's so crazy. When I started following you like a year ago, like maybe this was like 2 years ago, maybe it happened. And then they were like, oh, you only had like 3,000 followers. Now at that point, I must have had maybe like 14,000. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And they're like, how'd you get that many followers? I'm like, I don't know. People, I guess, just want to follow me and what I'm doing. I don't know.
Yeah, there is a big thing around, the number and all this stuff. And I saw like we're in Canada, they're like hiding the likes and stuff. And I actually kind of like that because I feel like it kind of separates the people who are really on there to really share genuine stuff versus the people who are like, all right, well, this photo will get X amount of likes.
Is it just Canada or is it also in Europe too? I thought they were doing that.
It might be in Europe as well, but I just, Canada's the one that sticks out of my mind.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that too. Cause that's the thing too. Cause it's like, I don't know, people try to compare, it gets too much. I don't know.
Yeah. It just, when you get caught up in the numbers, it's like, what are you really doing here? Right. It's like, maybe just looking for clout, chasing the likes, but I like to connect with real people who are on there for genuine things.
Well, yeah, I feel bad, but I get asked a lot. So, oh, can you share my page or can you share me? I'm trying to get more followers or share my story and stuff. And I'm like, that's not like how I am. I'm like, if I really like 100% talk to you and whatever, then I'm going to, put it out there. But it's like, I just don't do that. I don't know.
Well, there's actually, I don't know how much you've looked into this, but there's actually a lot of people that, like they make money off that. Like there are businesses that will, contact you and you can like actually sell mentions and like, posts and like, there's like a thing where, I'll post it. It'll stay up for 24 hours or it'll stay up for 48 hours. Or, I mean, it's crazy. There's like a whole business.
Oh my gosh. I've gotten that. Oh, want to get more likes? Like here, like if you pay this amount, or I'm like, why am I going to bother even doing that?
Yeah. Why? What's the point?
It's just, what? It is what it is. I don't really,
Yeah.
I've had people that tell me like, oh, I have to unfollow you. I'm like, okay.
Bye.
Bye. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. So I'm looking here and I mean, you've lost a substantial amount of weight and before we can even talk about this journey, we really got to go like way back to kind of your childhood, your upbringing. Like, I see here you're in Jersey. Are you born and raised Jersey or what's your story?
I'm born and raised Jersey girl.
All right. I'm with it. I'm about it. I like it up there in Jersey. Now, are you North Jersey or South Jersey?
I'm probably North Central.
North
Jersey.
Central. Okay.
I always get confused because they're like, oh, are you like like I'm on the border. Like, yeah, it's like weird. Yeah. I would say like North Central.
Okay. Right on. Right on. So you're born and raised Jersey. And what was it like kind of growing up there in Jersey?
I love it. I mean, I love like all the seasons pretty much, except summer, not so much, but this summer I am looking forward to actually.
Yeah.
But I love the fall. I love the seasons. I just had a lot of great memories in Jersey. It's just what I know. I mean, I definitely love it up north. If I had to, I would love to move to Salem, but that probably will never happen. That's why I just love visiting.
I will tell you though, one of the things I associate with Jersey, I don't know how much you mess with this. I always thought that New Jersey had some of the best music. Like I always thought there was like something in the water where the bands that came out of New Jersey were just like incredible.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I remember growing up, like, especially in high school, going to so many like local, like underground shows.
Yes.
And like, it was just awesome. Even my high school at one point, they had something called Rock Fest. And they had like bands, like local bands just play music in like the gym. I remember it just being so much fun.
Oh my God.
I know you're very into music. I see it.
Yeah. I was up there for skate and surf in Asbury Park like 15 years ago, and that was like mind blowing. And I had friends in bands up there, and I'd go up and see shows, and just seeing like the local shows up there. Now we had a scene down here in DC area, but it was nothing like the scene up there. I mean, the people up there were just second to none. Like, I've seen shows in many different cities, and Jersey by far, anywhere in Jersey, by the way, top notch all the way. You could tell that these dudes or chicks, like, they were just all about, like, they were feeling it. They were about it.
Oh yeah, especially Asbury, like the Stone Pony summer stage. Come on,
yeah,
that backdrop with how could you not love it? You got the beach and then the sun setting. I just remember going back August. I saw one of my favorite bands, Bad Wolves, Papa Roach, Asking Alexandria. They were at the Stone Pony summer stage, and it was just perfect. It was a beautiful summer August night, and then the backdrop. It's just crazy. I love Jersey.
Yeah. I anytime I can get up there, it's a good time. Now I kind of go up there for the theme park. You guys have a great Six Flags up there. I don't know if you're a theme park type of gal, if you like the thrill rides.
No, I'm afraid of heights.
Are you kidding me?
I hate heights.
Is that your biggest fear? Is heights your biggest fear?
Probably. Yeah, wow. I don't like heights. I don't like heights.
So you probably have never done any sort of like kind of like thrill ride or height ever. Or
I've done them. Especially when I was younger. Just now, I'm like, nope. Like I've done the crazy wooden roller coaster at Kingsburg.
Yeah,
which is like terrifying. If you've been to Kingsburg, their amusement park is kind of terrifying because it's like legit old.
Yeah, I've not been there, but
yeah, I don't really like. I like more of like the ground kind of ride, but I can't even honestly remember the last time I went to Six Flags, and I'm like right there. I'm not that far.
Okay, yeah, no, that's the place I go. So you mean to tell me if I were to like hit you up on a DM, be like, yo, you and your guy want to meet me and my girl, we'll go up and ride the King to Ka 450 feet. It's not happening?
I will go, but I will not go on that ride.
I'm sure you've seen it though, right? You've seen that ride?
I've seen like the advertisement for it.
Oh my God. This is my thing now. People, they tell me that they're afraid of it, and I'm the kind of guy where I'm like, I want to help them overcome their fears. Like I was talking with this girl, Tammy. She's on the podcast last year, and she lives down in North Carolina where they have a park, Carowinds, and they have a similar ride, very tall. And I almost had talked her into, I'm like, you know what? You're going to tell me that if I drive all the way down there next summer, you're not going to meet up. She's like, oh, I'll meet up with you. I said, but you're going to tell me that we're not going to jump on this ride? And at first she's like, no way. By the end of the show, she's like, maybe. And I was like, all right, we're getting somewhere.
I don't know. You're not gonna get a maybe out of me with that one because I'm like afraid of heights. I'll go on like I think if they have like a log flume because I like water rides.
Yeah.
So and that's a little height. They have like a little height with that because you go down in that little log thingy.
Yeah.
Last time I remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it.
That thing's probably, if I had to guess, probably 50 or 60 feet up. I mean, it's still pretty high.
Yeah.
It's not 450 feet, but it's pretty high.
Because I pretty much remember last time going and crying when I went on Skull Mountain. And you're in the dark going up. So I was kind of terrified. Like, that was too much for me.
You talking about the one at Six Flags?
Yeah, I think it was Skull Mountain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was not for me.
Oh, that's very tame, Heather. That little thing. You're gonna tell me? Come on now.
Exactly. That's why you will never see me on King Ka or any of those
Superman.
other crazy Superman. What was the other one? There was like the Batman freezing ray. I just
Oh yeah,
remember like I don't know. It's just terrifying to me. And anything with the don't they have like an elevator one?
yeah. Where it brings you up and just drop. That's on the King DeCoste Tower. So you could
Oh yeah. No, so I'm terrified of elevators too. So
really.
I hate elevators.
So you'll take the stairs all day long.
Oh, I'd rather take the stairs if I could, yeah.
That's great exercise, though. I like taking the stairs.
Oh my gosh, I love it too. Like even like wherever I can, I'll do stairs because it's kind of like you're getting your steps in anyway.
Yeah. I was in Las Vegas 2 years ago, and I was with the wife. It was for around my birthday, and we were in Caesar's Palace. I want to say probably 20 floors up, and I took the damn stairs up and down. I loved it. Like this was my first year of my weight loss journey. I was in heaven. Let me tell you, I loved taking the stairs. She thought I was nuts. She's like, I'm taking the elevator. You go right ahead and take the stairs. I had a blast.
See, I haven't done it like that. But that might be on my list to do one day, just to be like, oh yeah, I did it.
Well, you know what?
And then I'll take the elevator back up.
I actually have a better one for you. Actually, since you're so close to New York, every year, and you got to enter this lottery to do it. But the Empire State Building, they have a race up the stairs. I have entered the last 2 years and been denied, but they have a race where people race up to the top, taking the stairs.
That is too funny. But you know what? I'm the person that I will trip going up the stairs.
Oh, same.
I never fall going down. I always trip up.
Every time. There's always one step that gets you.
Yeah. That was me in high school. I did that notoriously because my high school had a lot of stairs. There were like, I want to say if there were I don't know if there was 3 floors or 2 floors, but I always tripped going up the stairs.
I can identify, believe me. I've fallen right on my face before too, and it's not fun. Not fun at all. What was your high school life like for you? Now, was weight an issue at this time, or had that come into play yet? Or
yeah, I pretty much had been overweight most of my life, starting since elementary school. I would be the girl. The nurse would call my mom because of my weight, and it was always an issue.
Right.
High school, it got to the point where you're at that age and, boys and stuff. And it was just, I didn't have a lot of friends. I had a couple. I was always heavy, but I was never my heaviest. I probably was like around 2 something at that point.
Yeah.
And I remember doing drastic things, especially when it came time to prom. And I just remember I wanted to look good in my dress. So I remember I would start like skipping meals to try to just, it was not the best time.
Yeah.
And even at my prom, I didn't even eat anything at my prom because I just didn't want to, in my dress, feel like, you get that like bleh feeling.
Yeah.
And it was very rough. I actually met Matt, baby driver, my husband, my senior year. He had already graduated and we were going out starting in April, but I did not take him to prom because I had promised one of my friends I would take him.
Yeah.
But I remember he was actually my first boyfriend ever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was very, he loved me for who I was, even at like 200 something pounds. And then obviously being together and awful eating habits and my work. I was an assistant at that time after high school graduating, and my hours were crazy and I wouldn't eat until like 9 o'clock at night when I got home after working 10, 12-hour days. And I would just eat McDonald's. Like that was our thing. We would just pick up McDonald's and just eat all this food. And then, my go-to meal, it was disgusting. It was either a Big Mac.
Yep.
Or the 2 cheeseburger meal with fries, chicken nuggets, and 2 apple pies. And a Diet Coke. Because you couldn't have regular Coke.
No.
Diet Coke.
Of course not.
With all that at 9 o'clock at night.
Did you ever try what I call the poor man's Big Mac, where it's just the McDouble with the mac sauce, save a few bucks on the sandwich?
No.
You never did that?
No. That is so funny. I never even thought about that.
Well, I was living poor for a couple of years. I'm still living poor now, but no, back in that day I was out on my own for like the first time ever, and I had like a shit job that paid, very little, and so paying the bills was a struggle, but big boy had to eat. And so my buddy who I was living with was like, dude, you got to try this. So you just ask for the $1, McDouble, or at that time it was the double cheeseburger before they started skimping out on the cheese. And he's like, for 30 more cents, they'll put the mac sauce on it. And so for $1.30, actually it's about $1.50 after taxes, you had a almost a Big Mac. Who needs that bread in the middle and all that lettuce and crap? You've got the core right there, and we'd order 5 or 6 of them.
The sauce is what made that sandwich anyway.
Yeah, totally. I used to work there, and we would throw it on the double quarter pounders. Stupid stuff.
I honestly, I have not had McDonald's in, it'll be 3 years. Not even, because honestly, I could eat McDonald's if I wanted to. Like, I could have a burger and just take the bread off and stuff. But if it's like, for me, I just look at it, if I'm going to eat something, I want something more enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely.
If I'm only able to eat a certain amount, like just to eat.
Yeah, the McDonald's, I'm with you. I haven't had it in, God, it's been about 3 years or just a little bit over. And I could tell you that, I had my own little personal restriction list, and that was on it for the longest time. And this year was the first year I felt comfortable taking all these things off and basically having no restriction list, because I believe that you can have just about anything, within moderation. And so I took it off the list, but I still don't have any like burning desire to run to a McDonald's and go have some.
Yeah, it's just weird because I remember I got this a lot with my weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
People were like, you lost all this weight, and they're like, you really couldn't do this without like having surgery. Like, how could you not have done this before? Because it's not just having surgery. Like, a lot of people have surgery, but you have to change your lifestyle too. And I just remember thinking, like, the 2 months or 3 months leading up to surgery, I started changing my eating habits a little bit. Like, I was bagging my lunch to work, and just little things like that. And I just remember having surgery and something just clicked. And I've, didn't want to fail because I've failed so many times in life. And I just didn't want to be the one person that had the surgery and then I failed. Like, I didn't lose the weight I was supposed to lose. Like, it gave me like, it kind of like a drive, like something just kind of clicked in my head. And it's like, I just didn't go through all of this because it was tough having surgery. It was not easy.
Right.
To fail.
Well, and let's zero in on that, because one of the most common misconceptions. Now, I have not personally had the surgery. It's not that I didn't want to have it. It's more I kind of had a fear of it. But I will say this, there's a common misconception. People treat surgery that don't understand it as if it's like a cheat code on Mario where you warp to level 8 and you just skip everything else. And suddenly like everything is fixed. Like you are, you're perfect, you're in shape and all this stuff. And like, that's not it at all. Like the surgery, they go in there, they make some adjustments to your body, and then you have to do the rest. Like it is not a cheat code. It is not a shortcut. It is, you still have to put in the work. And so I always want to mention this because I think there are a lot of people out there that still think that suddenly because they go in there and they do some snipping that suddenly it just takes all the weight off of you.
Oh yeah, I get comments like that all the time. Oh, she took the easy way out. She got surgery. And I'm like, let me tell you, nothing about this was easy. I changed my lifestyle and like little things. I know what works for me isn't going to work for everybody, but
sure.
Like I have not had bread, rice, or pasta since my surgery. Like unless I make it and make something bariatric friendly, I'm not eating it because I know they're trigger foods for me. I'm never going to be that girl again. I will not go to a bakery and get an item. I will not go out to dinner and get dessert because
right.
I'm not going to be able to eat anything because I know I'm afraid it might be a trigger for me. And it's just, this is my lifestyle, and it's just, it's not hard. Like, actually, it's funny because when I go out with Matt for dinner anywhere, even like our anniversary or something, I actually will beg him to get a piece of cheesecake or something for him to eat because he feels funny sometimes eating it in front of me. And I'm like,
Right.
really? It's okay. I am good. I'm not the girl. It's like, I'm not like, oh, I hate you because you're eating cheesecake in front of me. And actually, it's funny because when I first had surgery, I want to say for the first good year, he actually wouldn't eat in front of me.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, he wouldn't eat in front of me. He would go in the other room and eat whatever he was eating because he would like pick up stuff too here and there. And he was very like courteous in a way, but almost it kind of annoyed me because it made me feel maybe not so normal.
Yeah.
I'm like, you really can't, I'm like, I'm fine. You really can eat in front of me. And even now, like when we eat dinner, like if I like my food a certain way, because he'll be home before I am with my hours are so crazy all the time.
Right.
He'll make his food the way he wants to make it with like his teriyaki sauce, his barbecue sauce, and then mine will be in a different tray and made a different way.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great that you guys can have your independent type meals with your own styles. Something else I wanted to ask you about though, it's like when you make a decision, like I'm going to go down this path, I'm going to make that decision for the surgery. I think everybody's got a different thought around it. Was this like the first option in your mind, or was this something where you thought about it, it came up later? Like, how do you arrive on the decision, I want to do the surgery, as opposed to option B or C or D or what have you?
So for me, I actually had a lot of health issues that were coming up when I was 356 pounds. I
Mhm.
actually went to the ER. I remember I was in the middle of blow drying one of my clients and I was getting like really bad chest pain. And I kept like saying, oh, I'm just going to ignore it and finish my blowout.
Yeah.
And I'm like working and working and it's not going away. And it got really bad to the point where Matt actually picked me up from the salon and took me to the ER. And I just remember feeling embarrassed and ashamed. Like they're like taking my clothes off because they didn't know what was going on. They're like
Yeah.
taking my clothes off, putting EKGs on me, and I just remember like I was very shy and modest. Like I was completely covering myself up, you know.
Sure.
And I just remember everything's coming out. Like you know, I felt like my rolls and like just I felt so ashamed, and I felt like one of my lowest points. And I just remember thinking, like, this is it. This is how it's gonna end. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. And luckily, thankfully, it wasn't anything. But it scared me to the point where I said, I can't do this anymore. I was borderline diabetic. I was borderline hypertension. And I was convinced I did not want to go on blood pressure pills. There was something I don't like taking medicine when I don't need it.
Oh yeah.
And I kept saying, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "It's only high because I'm seeing you." Like, no, I probably should have been on blood pressure pills. But I just remember thinking, surgery is the most. Having surgery was one of the most hardest decisions I've ever had to make. When it should have been the easiest. But I kept thinking that I might have not had an option B
Yeah.
if I was continuing down this road. And I had this fear that I wasn't going to wake up. And I just remember even before my surgery, I stopped. I didn't make any purchases. Like I didn't order any food. I didn't order anything like just weird stuff because I felt like if I didn't make it, like I just didn't want anything like Matt to have to worry about anything
Sure.
like hidden bills or, you know, all that stuff. And I kept thinking like either I would die on the table or I was gonna die eventually and just be a ticking time bomb. I didn't know. So I made that decision and it wasn't easy and I didn't think I would even qualify with insurance because that's like the biggest problem too, which is sad. A lot of people, you know, that want to have surgery to better themselves and get healthy get denied. And it's really sad. But I was very fortunate I was able to and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely has worked out for you. One of the other things I'm always fascinated with the folks that go the surgery route, because I know there's like a couple of different kind of options, right? You have your bariatric, which is what you did. There's many different kind of options. I mean, I guess you talk with a doctor. How do you decide that this particular method is the best one? Like, I guess what are kind of the pros of going this route
So
versus the other way?
so this is what my deciding factor was. My surgeon didn't do the lap band. Actually, they were taking at that point all the lap bands out because they were getting a lot of problems with strictures with the lap bands.
Right.
So they weren't even doing that surgery at that point. So I was left with either the option of having a sleeve or the loop duodenal switch. I was not a candidate for the bypass because of my BMI was, I think, too high. So
Right.
they gave me option A, sleeve, or the DS. The problem is the sleeve, they anticipate you only going to lose up to 65% of your weight. With the loop duodenal switch, you could lose up to 85%. And I was already terrified at the thought of going in for one surgery. I did
Yes.
not, they give you the option. You could go in for a sleeve. And if you did not lose enough weight with it or meet your goal that you wanted, you could go back in and they could do a revision to the loop DS. I
Oh.
didn't want to go in for a second surgery. I'm like, if you're gonna do it, I'm gonna go all in. So with the Loop DS, it's a little bit more because it's not just the sleeve where they, cut a portion of your stomach out.
Yes.
They also reroute your intestines. So I do malabsorb nutrients. And that's why I take supplements
I
because I'm
see.
not absorbing everything I'm eating.
I see. And so, are there any kind of like side effects that you've had to deal with other than that, or?
Basically, not like side effects. I got pretty lucky because some people do have problems with like with the bowels. Like, it could either go either way after surgery. They tell you this right up into either you could have bad bathroom issues or you'll be fine. And I'm lucky that I'm fine. Like because
Yeah.
there's some people that get really sick from it. But with the supplements, I started out taking only a bariatric multivitamin, which has ADK in it.
Hmm.
It has a little bit more than the regular multivitamins for bariatric because I malabsorb, so I need a lot more of those nutrients. Calcium, iron, and a Nascabal, B12 nasal spray. Since then, I get my blood work done at least 2, 3 times a year. And you start getting deficient vitamin D. Everyone pretty much gets deficient, but I've had to add some vitamin E, zinc. I had to add, and I take a lot of supplements. I'm on a probiotic. Uh, Recently, since the hospital, I added vitamin C to my regimen,
Right.
just things like that. And it's like a lifestyle. And I just did a post the other day on it, like this is what I have to do. And honestly, there's a lot of people, you should be taking supplements anyway and getting your blood work done. Even if you just have a sleeve, you still need to keep up with that part.
Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of maintenance thereafter with just checking on your body and seeing kind of where you're at with all your levels and stuff.
Yeah, that's why I think it's very important. A lot of people stop taking their vitamins. And you know, I recently just got back to really like doing it again because between the hospital stay and stuff, it kind of threw me off. And I've been just trying to get back in my groove. So I'm on it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And when you did the original surgery, was what like were you like kind of like on the shelf for a several amount of weeks? Like what is it like the recovery process with something like that?
Oh my God. So I'm crazy. I thought I was going to go back to work in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I ended up 2.5 weeks. I went back to work. I ended up getting an infection in some of my incisions because I had a reaction to the adhesive glue
Oh.
that they use at the site because it's laparoscopic, but I ended up getting an infection. So I went back to work at 2.5 weeks. Realistically, I should have taken a month off
Yeah.
because you're still relearning your body at that point. You're reintroducing food and into your system because you have to do liquids and then soft foods and you build up, eating food again like you're a baby. Like you just go through the stages and you don't know how your body's going to react. I remember like eggs sat so bad for me. Like it's just you just don't know. And I was afraid to get sick, especially at work, from eating something that I wasn't sure if it was going to agree with me or not.
Yeah. What like what's the kind of the mental, mindset here, like when you're going through that change of, changing the way you eat, and like how difficult is that transition for you?
It's still, I mean, it's still to this point it's a struggle, but especially because I very much was an emotional eater, and I
Right.
still am. And that surgery doesn't fix that. It's still, it's something you still deal with, and it's not. I'm not gonna. I like you said, you have good days, you have bad days. Um, but I just really focus on making sure that I'm healthy, and I keep up. I basically do like high protein, low carb, low sugar.
Right.
So, and like I said, with the snacks and stuff, I do like the protein bars. I'm like have the yogurts. I make my little goodies when I was making them. And just to keep on track, it's like just a different mindset. I just don't want to go back to how I was. I can't.
Yeah, there ain't no turning back now.
No, I refuse to.
And when you're, once you kind of get in a better spot where you're feeling better, all the exercising and all that, what was that process like for you? Like just starting to become more active?
Okay, so I had surgery in January. I did not start going to the gym working out till April.
Okay.
Before that, I was just walking. And even right after surgery, because I was terrified of blood clots, still to this day, I'm terrified. It was winter. My husband and I, we were walking out front, just the house. It was exhausting. And there was snow on the ground. I'm out there in the boots, all bundled up, just walking up and down my street. Because that's
Yeah.
all I could do at that point. And eventually, I just kept walking and walking. And I was terrified of going to the gym, especially because I'm not like a gym rat. I'm
Yep.
not like, I'm not like, I was afraid of what other people were going to think of me or look at me, especially what I was wearing. I was wearing my tutus to the gym. And it's funny, I didn't know until way after my weight loss, someone actually took a picture of me
Really?
working out on the treadmill in my tutu, and I wasn't even at goal weight. And then they commented, they took a photo of me from behind, like, this girl is here at the gym working out in like a full tutu. Someone sent it to me because they looked up the gym I went to, and they're like, this picture is out there of you.
Wow.
Yeah, and it blows my mind, especially now with social media, how people think it's okay to violate someone's privacy and just take a photo or a video of them without them knowing.
Yeah, it's not cool.
I just came across that today. Someone posted something. I'm not going to go into details about it because it kind of like pissed me off a little bit.
Sure.
But they were basically telling the person, like, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Wow.
For sitting there and eating what you're eating. And it just got me so mad. Like, you were there too at one point. How would you feel if someone did that to you? And they posted a video of the person, but obviously only from like the neck down, of them sitting there eating their food. And I'm like, that to me is just awful.
Yeah, that ain't cool.
And I think that's a big problem, especially with social media. And people think they could like hide behind their phone and their keyboards. Like, it's kind of disgusting.
Well, I would imagine that you probably dealt with a little bit of that, being that you have the following that you have. People, more people are seeing your photos. They're either A, doing the troll like stuff, or B, just flat out stealing photos and saying, hey, look, I took Herbalife and all this happened. That kind of stuff too happens. I would imagine you probably have dealt with a little bit of that.
It happens a lot, especially after my plastic surgery. I've gotten a lot of trolls. Especially the sad thing, it's a lot of people in the weight loss community.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's sad. You know what, too? Especially my friend Donna. I don't know if you follow her, Insane Profane. She runs the weight loss New York City meetups with Monica. And she's my Jersey girl, too. I love her. She's funny. She basically, it's sad because, she put out there, too, like, worry about yourself. And, like everyone's so worried about everyone else. It's like, stay in your lane. Like, I don't bother you, don't bother me.
Yeah.
And I just don't know, especially with my plastic surgery, a lot of people were coming at me like I was basically like a target for them for some reason, and I don't know why, and I don't know if it was maybe a little jealousy. I actually had someone post one of my I was 4 weeks post-op for my skin removal,
Right.
and they put me on Reddit under botched surgeries
Oh, wow.
and said basically when implants and skin removal go wrong and this girl is excited about her new waistline. That's how they titled it. They covered my Instagram handle, but they left my profile picture. Like, you didn't think people were going to send me this? And I basically at that point, I like, you're trying to degrade me and my weight loss. First off, you're not even saying the whole story. And that's what you were trying to do. You were trying to just tear me down for some reason to make yourself feel better. And honestly, I felt bad
I
for them that they had to do that.
I could imagine. I mean, and the other thing too is like, you're sharing these photos and sharing a very real part of your life. And I mean, it's a very brave thing to do. Anytime anybody shares, I mean, really any photo, but I mean, these photos here, the kind of photos with the, with the skin and everything. And for people to take these and reuse them. I mean, that's just not cool.
You know what? Because like I say, I put myself out there. Like, I had skin removal surgery. I had complications, unfortunately. I'm still recovering. I actually got my wound vac put back on me for my one wound because it's not completely healed yet. But I'm getting there. Uh, it's not easy putting yourself out there. And I basically, especially right after my skin removal, and when I came home from the hospital, because I was almost in the hospital for 3 weeks,
Right.
I was very vulnerable. Like, I was very emotional, and I still was stressed and dealing with everything. And especially when you have so many people like trying to hurt you for whatever reason and make themselves feel better. And, especially when you're not feeling up to par yourself.
Oh
And
yeah.
it really got to me. It made me really depressed.
I could imagine. And so you were in the hospital for quite some time. And I mean, so you're still going through the recovery process now.
Yeah, I had a skin removal November 20th.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, that was a little
And
whiles
I was
ago.
in the hospital. I had surgery on a Wednesday, came home Saturday, and then I was readmitted to the hospital that Monday. I didn't come home until uh almost middle December.
Wow. And so the skin removal, was that just because you had a lot of pain, like the excess skin?
I had the excess skin and I was getting infections and sores underneath the fold, especially where my panty was.
Right.
I had to go to the dermatologist. I had to get like, the antifungal. I had like the antibiotic creams. I had like the Nystin, like everything.
Wow. Yeah, that I could see where that would be. And did you have any kind of like reservations about going back under the knife, or is there like a fear there, or were you kind of like, well, I've been there before, let's just go with it again?
I've been there before, and this time for me it was just really exciting because for me this was almost kind of like my second part of my transformation.
Right.
Like, I lost the weight, and honestly, like, I think I hid my excess skin pretty well. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, "You don't have skin. You don't have skin," because I never showed it. Because I was like, "Why am I? Do you want me to just sit there with my panty hanging out, like for everyone to like? I'm not gonna walk around like that.
Right.
Like, I want to feel good about myself. I lost all this weight. I don't want to feel, I want to feel like a normal girl. Like, and this to me was just another step in like my transformation. And even now, like, I'm just so happy with the results I have so far. And I'm not even like, I still would like to get more stuff done in the near future. Maybe I'm not quite sure. Like,
Yeah.
I would like my arms and like my thighs a little bit, but I'm going to like work on it. But right now, I'm just so happy I was able to do what I was able to do because it has freed me so much, like, to not worry about skin infections anymore. And like, I would literally come out of the shower every morning, take a blow dryer down there to dry it out and make sure I had no like water there or moisture because that was a common thing. Like, it just gets trapped underneath the skin. So literally it was like, that was my routine. Like blow dry your hair, also blow dry your panty.
Yeah, that's probably a long process too, because you just want to make sure everything's dry and there's no wet. Because yeah, it gets trapped under there, and then you could deal with all kinds of infections.
Yeah, and I was, and I had like at least 3 belly button infections. That's why when I opted, like, my surgeon was like, I don't know about the belly button. I was like, that's fine, take it out. I don't want it. So I have no belly button. I'm good with it.
And I mean, when you think about it, the timing is great too, because I mean, you figure by the time spring and summer rolls around, a lot of this stuff is going to be pretty much fully healed, I would imagine, or pretty damn
Oh
close.
yeah. That's why I said, like, normally I'm not a summer girl, but I am so looking forward to the summer, and the Jersey Shore is calling my name. I'm so excited.
I,
I actually tried on last week my first ever bikini.
oh wow.
And I literally just in my bedroom and just cried. It was just such a real moment for me because I've never in my life worn a bikini.
It's got to be the ultimate high.
It was. And you know what? With everything going on with the trolls and the backlash and the nasty comments I was getting, like, and the messages, and you know what? It just kind of drowned out all that white noise because this is what it's about. This is my happiness. This is my life. And you know what? I'm going to keep shining because you're not going to dull my sparkle anymore. Like, I'm going to try to continue to shine and live the best life I can.
Damn right.
And that was exciting. Like, that was my moment. I am just super excited for, the summer, and I'm going to rock that bikini, and it's just going to be the most amazing feeling because I already feel like just so happy with that.
I feel like I kind of always had you pegged as more of a fall, autumn type person based on some of the photos I had seen in the years past.
I am.
Is that accurate?
Yes, I am strictly a fall girl. I love the fall. I even joke now. I said, maybe I should be like the naked cowboy and just go to New York in a bikini. If I wasn't going to freeze to death, I would totally, because I wear cowgirl boots anyway.
Why not?
I could just walk around New York in a bikini. I could do it.
You definitely could rock that. And that, I mean, yeah, that's the thing too. It's like, summer's coming up. I mean, this is the opportune time. You're going to be out there having the time of your life. Got your husband. You're going to be like the ultimate confidence boost. Going into the summer, like really, from a mental health perspective, because I think a lot of times we spend time, beating ourselves up, self-doubt, all these things. And so to have all these things kind of going in a great succession, by the time summer rolls around, I mean, you're going to be on cloud 9 at this point.
It's going to be like the ultimate high. Like, I just can't wait. Like, I'm excited to even just go back to the gym.
Yeah.
I don't know when that will be because I was told by my surgeon it's going to be a very long time until I'm fully healed, I guess. But I'm excited just to do that and just up my fitness game because this is just life changing. And I just want to take it by the horns and just be the best me I could be.
Speaking of that, are you kind of like, I guess based on your current weight now, you feel like you're in that maintenance zone, or do you feel like there's more to lose, or like kind of what are your goals around that?
I feel like I'm definitely in the maintenance aspect of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I even weigh now because I'm still in like swelling and like with the wounds, and I was told my body, I'm still like taking Lasix because my body after the infection, because that's why I was in the hospital, it was just retaining fluid and it was scary. I'm actually still taking Lasix, which is supposed to help with the water and release the water. So until all that goes away, until my wounds heal, then I feel like then I'll recover from the surgery part because my body right now is still trying to recover from the wounds. It hasn't even recovered from the surgery itself.
Yeah.
So I haven't even weighed myself.
I see. Yeah, based on some of the photos you shared, it definitely looked like there was, definitely some big infections in there, and I would imagine that's probably pretty painful.
Yeah, I still have a little like pain here and there. It's like more discomfort, maybe from the wound vac, but it wasn't easy. But I just looked at it like these were just little bumps in the road, and it's just, I tried to stay as positive as I can, even being in the hospital, because I had moments where I just broke down because I wanted to go home. I just was over it. I was tired of being stuck with IVs. I had 8 IVs put in me the whole stay because I was on 2 different heavy duty antibiotics and my veins just kept blowing no matter how slow they were running it. And I had 8 IVs with 14 attempts because at one point they couldn't get into my veins without blowing it right away. So it was just really painful, but I kept trying to stay positive. Like, this is just a little sucky bump. Because even with it wasn't just the infection. From there, I had the intense swelling. And then that's when my incisions started opening up on me.
Oh yeah. Cause it's all stretching out. It's got to go somewhere, right?
Yeah. And it's just another bump in the road. And I was like, okay, I'm handling it. I'm just looking at the bigger picture. I'm home now. I'm healthy. I'm getting there and I'm healing and it's taking time, but I'm just looking forward to the next couple months. It's just going to be in the past and I'm just moving on.
God, you're going to be sitting on the beach in the middle of July, just laughing your ass off. Like, man, remember when I was sitting there in pain and all this stuff, and look at me now.
Yeah. A lot of people ask me if I had any regrets with the surgery and I don't.
Yeah.
Anything you can have complications. I had people messaging me that they had wound vac put on for their C-sections after. So a simple surgery like a C-section, you could get complications.
Yeah, I mean, it's bound to happen from just about anything, I would imagine.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's just, I'm looking at the bigger picture. Like, I'm excited. I'm excited about the opportunities that I have. I feel so free from my skin. I felt like it was holding me back. I don't have to worry about when I do go back to running, like worry about my, infections and like, my skin flapping back and forth.
Yeah. I mean, according to your profile here, you have lost over 230 pounds. When you think about that, I mean, I think about, like, I've lost 100, and just the massive difference there is between what I was weighing at just about 400 and now around 280, 290. Like, that's a big difference, but over 200 pounds. I mean, what are some of the stuff now that you can do that you probably never would imagine that you could have done before?
So it's funny. Okay, running.
Yeah.
I never thought I would run or want to run because I have vivid nightmares of being in middle school with the boys. They would line the girls up on one side of the gym and the boys on the other. And my grandmother worked at Irvington High School. She was head of the math department. She got me this, I thought it was an awesome t-shirt from Irvington High. It was bright blue and it said, "Who are we?" And you would have to run back and forth in front of the boys.
Oh, wow.
And every time I ran in front of them, they would all scream, "Who are we? Who are we?" So I have terrifying memories of running. And I just remember running for the first time and just falling in love with it. Like, it felt so freeing to me. I just put on my music, a really great playlist, and I just would rock it out and just release all my stress. And I love running outside. I love running by any body of water. It's just so freeing to me. And it's one of the most amazing feelings. And I actually ran my first 5K back in July this year.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
Never thought I would run a 5K. I did the Philly Blacklight run. It was so much fun. It was more of like a fun race than an actual race.
Yeah.
But it still was just an amazing feeling, like thinking I never thought in my wildest dreams I would ever do a 5K or even just run. So that was just a big accomplishment for me. That was like one of my most like aha moments because I just remember hating it so much.
Oh no, I think that's awesome. I appreciate your time. As we wrap this up, tell me kind of like some of, if you have any other goals coming in the next couple of years, like what do you look to do? I know you're big with the, you're doing hairstyling, right?
Yes, I'm a hairdresser. Basically, I'm just kind of taking it day by day. I mean, I love what I do. I love doing hair. I love creating stuff.
Yeah.
I want to definitely up my fitness game for sure once I'm fully healed. And I just feel like eventually I want to start our family because that was one of the big things too, losing weight. I wanted to start a family and I wasn't able to with my weight. So Now that's not a problem. And I'm excited for that down the road. And I'm just excited for, like, whatever life decides to throw at me.
I love it. I love it. And the best way to, if people want to check you out, is Instagram all the way.
Yep, Instagram, Autumn X Noir. I also have a YouTube channel. I've been trying to work on that a little bit more. It's just been hard with, coming home and stuff. But yeah, basically Instagram. And I'm always a DM away.
I'm sorry. What are you doing on the YouTube? Is it like vlogs and stuff, or like tips? What are you doing on there?
Basically, like mostly like my little Insta stories and just little things here and there. Anything like I said, like I'm kind of like, I just post like all my Insta stories because a lot of people love watching what I'm doing.
Right.
And if when it comes to anything, if I'm just baking or if I'm making something or painting something or decorating my house, I have so many people that want an actual house tour of my house. Because they just see all my ghoulish things, and I like weird stuff, and I have like glitter in my paint in the walls, and I just like everything weird and unusual.
I should ask you about that before you go. Like, where does all that come from? Like, how long have you been interested in like the ghouls and the weird stuff? Like, where does all that come from?
I don't know. I kind of always liked it. Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't like anything boring. And I don't know. We have a rule. Me and Matt, I had the inside of the house I got to, and he basically has like the reign of the outside.
Okay.
Like, I wanted to put a yellow brick road out in the front of our house. So he nixed that. He's like, no, we're not doing that.
Well, what's his style though? Like, what is he into?
He's very kind of like he's very quiet.
Okay.
But he's into like, metal. He was hand painting skateboards for a little bit. He's like, I call him a closet artist.
Okay.
He has like a artist block, if you would. He hasn't done it in a while, but he's very not as crazy as I am. Like some of the things he just shakes his head. He's just like, I don't know. Like, because I like but he lets me be me.
Well, that's what you want right there. That's a keeper.
Yeah. I mean, especially with weight loss, marriage hasn't been easy, especially we've been together for 12 years, married for 5. And I've been in this weight loss journey for the past 3 years, and it hasn't been easy because even without adding weight loss to the mix, as you grow, different.
Oh, definitely.
Especially being together, and weight loss is kind of throwing a monkey wrench in there. And there are times where it's difficult, but you try to work at it and it's still, work in progress.
That's what being married's all about. I've been married for, let's see, this is 2020 we're in now. So in September, it'll be 5 years. So I'm coming up about that same amount of time. But we had been together for about 10, going on 11.
Yeah, basically almost like the same. And it's so different from like, and at one point, I said I was fighting it, that people were like, oh, you're different, you changed. And I fought it, but I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, I am not the same girl I was when, 12 years ago. I'm not. And I'm not the same girl I was 5 years ago. But this is me, and I am unapologetically me.
And I would imagine, over this journey, you find out a lot about yourself too.
One of the things that's funny, because I get it all the time, that, wow, you're so strong, you're so brave. And those are words I would never, if you had to ask me like words to describe me, I would never name those for me.
Yeah. Cause
it just I would never think like those words for me, but I get that a lot. And it's something I have this drive, and I feel a willpower I just keep pushing on through no matter what happens. I fight.
I'm about that. It's all about the fights. And I got to tell you, you have done, just amazing. It's great to follow you and see your transformation over the last couple of years. And I just want to tell you, as we wrap up here, just keep on fighting, because you're doing a hell of a job with it.
Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me on this podcast. I was so excited. I was like, you really want to do this?
Yes. This is what I love. I love the connect. Cause look, at the end of the day, Instagram, it's cool. You can like and comment and sometimes DM, but like it's even better just like jumping on the phone for like we've got an hour. Would you believe we've got an hour already?
Yeah, it was so funny. I kept thinking like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? I don't even know. I'm like so nervous. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it an hour.
Yeah, but I mean, this is really what it's all about. I'm all about like making deeper connections with people more than just, I just like your photo, if they want it. Cause some people, they don't want to come on a podcast. They don't want to talk publicly. And I get that. I respect that. But for those that do, like, I just love just getting on a deeper connection with people. I think it's awesome.
Well, that's the great thing about this community. Like you said, you could be like, but actual social interaction, I actually met a lot of people in like the flesh, and I love that. Like, yeah. I just hung out with I met the sweetest girl, Jocelyn, and she actually visited me in the hospital. But the first time we actually met was at my local seamstress because I recommended her, and we bumped into each other by chance at the seamstress. But we never actually physically hung out. Like, she came to the hospital to visit me while I was there. And just this past Friday, we went to the movies together. So it's like actually meeting like genuinely cool people in this community. That's what it's about. It's developing these relationships and bonds with people that you never would have maybe by chance run into, and you have common things. It's amazing.
Exactly. Being social on social media. What a novel concept.
Yeah, right? Isn't that what the point is?
I would think so, but there's people out there, they're trying to build their followings, and they want to, they want to be Insta famous and drive Ferraris and all these things that are not real.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I get that a lot. They're like, thank you for being so raw. And I'm like, I'm just being me. Like, I don't have time to pretend to be someone else or even try.
Yeah, nobody's got time for that.
No. Nobody got time for that.
That's right. We're just trying to work our jobs, live our lives, love our spouses, and just live our best life.
Bad, like people watching my Insta stories, especially when I'm running from like the salon shift to like the Y shift, because I've worked both in one day, and I've worked like 12, 14-hour days. It's crazy. And then I'm like, here I am at the salon. Then I'm like busy at the salon. I don't go on social media sometimes if I'm busy. And then at the Y, here I am. I'm about to go to the Y, finish my coffee, and then I'm like silent the rest of the night. And I feel bad because I get so many people like, sending me messages and trying to reach out to me. And it's hard. Like, I don't feel like people understand, like, I'm trying to live life. I'm trying to work 2 jobs. I try to talk to people and get back to people, but it's not easy.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And I like genuinely helping people, especially now that I've gotten a little downtime. I've been able to actually like talk to people more, which I love. Like, I'm going to be kind of sad when I go back to work, and it's going to be hard.
Yeah, I think that's great. Using some time to help people. That's really why we do it. I think, it's making a connection, but also trying to help people at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I've had someone reach out to me because they had surgery, actually plastics, the week before I did, but they didn't get a wound vac until 6 weeks after. They're having problems, and they were reaching out to me, asking me questions, because I don't know if you follow her, Amy, Splattered.
I don't know if that's
how you say. Yes, she had a wound vac because she had her Andy Warhol exactly where my one wound is that won't close. Yeah. And I talked to her, and it was just amazing reaching out to someone, because it's terrifying going through something and you don't know what to expect.
Yeah, there's always somebody to relate to you.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. It's just about helping one another instead of tearing someone down. It's just help one another, and just, if you can help,
just do it.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't agree anymore. Heather, you've been so gracious with your time. Thank you so much. I had a blast, and you know what? Down the line, let's do it again.
Yes, definitely. And if you're ever in Jersey, hit me up.
I will. I'm going to take you up on that.
Because the Pony's having some good shows this summer.
I'm going to have to check out the schedule, and we'll see what's happening with it.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. We will definitely talk soon.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. What a podcast. If you're not already following Heather, make sure that you go and follow her. I got all the links in the show notes, folks. So go and check her out. Don't forget to check out patreon.com/Gary Cantrell. You can donate to the show and get a bunch of awesome perks that I mentioned at the top of the show. Check out iTunes, leave a review, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, whatever you're calling it these days. please leave a review. It really goes a long way. And of course, hardworkalwayswins.com. Use the promo code podcast for 10% off your very first order. I would appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.